There will be anywhere from 25 to 63 officers covering the city between 3 and 7 a.m. Chief Scarrato says that decision is backed by data. Officers will also be switching to 10-hour shifts 4 days a week, with 1 hour offered to them to focus on their mental health. Scarrato also announced a new violent crime initiative, which will be made up of 17 officers. The department is budgeted for 850 officers, but currently has around 740.
Now, when you crack open this story, the city of Pittsburgh promotes us as the operational changes to better serve Pittsburgh, but it actually looks like them trying to make the best out of a severely understaffed police department. As from 3 a.m. to 7 a.m., they're going to reroute certain police calls to a non-emergency line or online reporting. But I know firsthand how this is going to be utilized to simply underreport crime. They say things like non-emergencies, but they'll literally classify most everything as a non-emergency when they don't have anybody to dispatch. And online police reporting will take your claim, but reject it several days later, asking for some random detail or saying you need to drive into the station to report it in person. And these are just ways to discourage and inconvenience you from reporting a crime. So magically, criminal activity can increase while the crime rate disappears. So no wonder places like Hartford, Connecticut are bringing in who they call the Self-Defense Brigade.
Hartford's North End on Saturday.
We are legally armed! Legally armed, and we're patrolling!
A group of people looked to patrol and clean up Garden Street.
The people on Garden Street came to us and asked us for help.
They were part of Minister Cornell Lewis's Self-Defense Brigade.
We are not vigilantes. We are a group of people that are disciplined, who train, who go to the shooting range.
Now, although they say they're not vigilantes, should a crime occur in their presence, I somehow doubt they'll just let it go down, especially if they're armed. I imagine the point of all of this is to dish out some vigilante justice, because although Pittsburgh and Hartford aren't necessarily neighbors, they're both equally deeply Democrat, as Hartford defunded their police back in 2020, and Pittsburgh was even cutting their police staffing into this year, which Democrats have been known to eliminate police protection for everybody but themselves.
You can't get that off. I'm going to make sure I have security because I know I have had attempts on my life and I have too much work to do. There are too many people that need help right now for me to allow that. So if I end up spending $200,000, if I spend $10 more on it, you know what? I get to be here to do the work. So suck it up, and defunding the police has to happen. We need to defund the police and put that money into social safety nets because we're trying to save lives.
So if you're an important politician, of course they have cops protecting them all hours of the day. But if you're a business owner in Detroit, you have to rely on what looks like some street militia. Or if you're lucky, vampire hunter security.
Show me you right now. What is that? Ooh, samurai. That boy, that is a monster. Let me see what else you got.
Now, would I feel somewhat safer knowing that there was a bootleg blade sweeping the streets? Kind of, but I would much rather have a trained organization of sworn officers held in check by elected officials that could only pass judgments if agreed upon by a jury of one's peers, which is what we had in the first place. Sure, it had its flaws, but instead of fixing them, these deep blue leaders decided to just strip it down until the only people that got police protection was themselves. But for you and me, our safety is either up to ourselves, or apparently the occasional street samurai. So if you appreciate my concise, lighthearted commentary on the tragic status that is today's reality, hopefully I've earned your subscription, then go check out the video on how Joe Rogan's podcast guest, who was supposed to be the poster child for criminal reform, was caught with a severed head in his freezer.